The aspect of the report that resonated with me was the fact that people settle better in countries if they have a community, a family that are also here, that provide them with those moments where they need to be encouraged because they're away from their homeland. They're having to establish a new life, and they've usually gone through a lot. And so I just think that that business of family reunification is there for good reason. People thrive when they're surrounded by the people that they love. And one of the pieces of evidence that really moved me was hearing from a wonderful Sikh consultant working in our hospital system, and at a time when we are absolutely desperate for more doctors because we have such shortages in the health system. And here he is, dedicated to our health system. He's here with his small family, his wife and his children, but he has a strong cultural commitment to the idea of looking after his own parents. And his parents are now probably my age, in their 70s, and he wants them living with him, and to see them through their old age. This is not a question of coming here and going into a home or something. It's being with him so that he and his wife will see them in these final years of their lives, that their children will have their grandparents, and that they will be together as a family, and that unit being so important to his sense of responsibility to his family, but a sense of responsibility that he brings to his work too. And he was very moving in describing that sense of responsibility he has, and how it is an ache in his heart that he can't have them with him. They come and visit, but it would be to have them in his home, grandparenting his children, being a part of their lives. And that just seems so important to me, and it helps people to settle, and it helps people to do what they do in their working lives that much better.
You feel so unfairly treated when, as far as your family is concerned. And we know of many colleagues who have left. There's a colleague of ours who I referred to. It's not just her who's left, who was a consultant in accident emergency. There's a group of them who've left from this country because of these very rules, because of the rigidity and the inflexibility of the rules. I know personally of a colleague who was a GP working in a practice who was also involved in training GPs, who left and moved to Australia for this very reason. We are losing people. A couple of years ago, Papio and Apne sort of together did a survey of about 1,000 doctors, and 90% of them said they were considering relocating from UK. And we know that in the last few years, there are thousands of doctors and GPs who've left the country, generally to other countries who have a more humane immigration system, the likes of Canada, Australia. These are currently the favored destinations because they do not have this sort of rigidity around the rules. They see families as families and not just numbers. And I think it's also upsetting because the numbers we're talking about here are quite small. They're a very small fraction of the overall immigration. Prior to 2012, there were just over 2,000 applications under ADI rules. And in the context of the total immigration, this is not even 1/10 of 1% of the total immigration. So for a very small number, I think the impact it has on the NHS, on the frontline services, is quite disproportionate. And it's also not only pushing people away from this country, but actually a lot of my colleagues who would have perhaps come to UK from say India, they now don't. They don't see UK as a country they'll go and settle in. And we talk about attracting the brightest and the best, but that's not the reality on the ground.
No.
And I don't think that's helpful. And I think there are many more who are in the process of leaving and who will leave.